Good morning. Morning to the viewers of the Sunday morning brunch hacking stream. Well, look, we're looking at my bird feeder hanging from the garage, and that's pretty good, isn't it? Look at that. Maybe we'll see some birdies. So, what am I doing this week? Well, I tell you what I am doing. I'm gonna do some blue sky Oauth, I think. I got a lot of stuff working here. Sorry, this is the web server and the chat server. So this is all working. I'm going to test it with some friends this week. Your branch is ahead of Code Store. That's interesting, isn't it? So it's kind of interesting. Well, are you interested? I don't know, but I think it's kind of interesting. We're at a place in the world right now where we're thinking about federated and the power that these centralized networks have over us, and we're starting to worry about that. So there's things like Blue Sky coming along to try and solve that in a technical way, and Mastodon for, at least for social media. But I'm kind of interested in those things, but I worry that they're a bit just technical solutions to the problem. They're not actual solutions. So personally, I still feel like I'm struggling to collaborate with people using tools like that without sort of doing the just turning the desk heater on there, without sort of doing the old ways of doing it. So I should stop waffling and just show you what I've done. Okay, so is it running right now? Yeah, it is. So hit the stop, put it in the background. Now that's a window with lots of Oauth stuff in it. Let me find my that's not it. Let's just move this one out of the way for a minute. Here it is. I'll move that out of the way as well. I'll move this back up. God, Windows. Life's so much easier with window management, isn't it? God. Okay, so there's a chat, and here's a chat, and we can say hello, and it should all work, and we can do it from here. There's a funny bird sound. Anyway, and so something I did just recently was, if I turn this off, I think you can see on the Chrome window, it's not a Chrome window, it's an Edge window. It's disconnected And then if I restart, I can go retry and it will reconnect. And I have to do it on the other one as well. Retry and it will reconnect. And I guess let's stop it again. And if we retry, if we retry, and if we retry, I feel like those retries, they should flash the button or maybe put something next to it or something. So yeah, maybe not quite done yet, but good enough, I think. And the next step for this is really to add Oauth, so that people can Oauth to this. I've also got I'm just going to be doing crypto for the next God knows how many weeks, because I'm also trying to add ALPN negotiation to my web server. What does that mean? It means to get a TLS certificate from Let's Encrypt automatically, you can do a negotiation form, a proof that you are who you say you are, with the TLS ALPN protocol. But to do that, you've got to implement a lot of Let's Encrypt. It doesn't seem well implemented right now. There aren't loads and loads of examples. There are loads of terrible examples. And so there is a web server called Caddy, which implements natively inside it, without a bunch of shonky nonsense. So that's good. Maybe I could look at that. But I'm just going to try and implement Let's Encrypt from first principles. So I've got this, and mostly all I've done here is to tidy this stuff up to make this readable. So Let's Encrypt requires a whole bunch of JavaScript web signatures. So I've brought in these libraries, libjwt, which some guy has written for JavaScript web tokens and JavaScript web signatures. So that feels good. That's a nice C library. It's written using CMake, and I hate CMake with a passion, but hey, and that uses this thing called Jansen as a JavaScript parsing library. So, well, I feel like I want this ignore backups thing. Is there an ls? I'm sure there must be. Like, ls help. Let's just take a side quest. Core utils, common options, output of entire files, summarizing files. It's not great documentation, is it? Is it core utils even? It has never seemed to me that this is finished. ls, here we are. Actually, a manual would be better. What I'm looking for is a variable, an environment variable, which I can add to my config, which will default these. It doesn't seem like there's anything there, does it? It's really frustrating, isn't it? Printing text, redirection, system context. Right. Da, da, da. Hmm. Yeah, it's really frustrating. Let's search the internets. Is there a variable, an environment variable for default ls options, flags? Do 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 do. Gonna have to go and download the source and read the source in order to understand if there is or not. Oh my gosh, really? Seems a bit of a miss to me. I guess we could do. Anyway, okay, so that's where we are. So I'm thinking about Oauth for this, and I'm thinking about the ALPN stuff, and I'm sort of moving. I'm moving forward. And that's great. But also, I've got some friends who are talking about just helping me out in just little ways. Just trying to look at what this blooming window is. I don't think we need that window. So one of those ways would be to start trying to get my web server to compile on Mac, for example, but I'd have to give you the code. And my code is all contained in this, and there's no security on this. I keep this running on my network. It's not on my local machine, it's on my network. So if I flip between my house and my garage, that all works. And this is what I was talking about Blue Sky earlier on in the feed. So there's this thing called Tangled. And this is pretty good, I reckon. Oh god. social. So then we log in like that. It's pretty good, I reckon. If I go here, I can see my repositories. I've only got one repository up here. So that's pretty good. You know, I'm not complaining about this. Quite like it. But is it helping me share stuff? Do I trust it to share all of this work in progress code? I don't think I do. How can I change this? So it's got all of this blue sky AT proto stuff in it, and that's all very well. Like they've got these things called knots, which I think are like in blue sky there's this thing called a personal data server where everything goes, and you know, that's great. Maybe I just don't understand this stuff yet, but like you can do all of this, but does it actually change my sharing ability? No. What it just means that I've got my data on under some sort of control of mine. I've already got that. I can already set up a database on my own server. Everybody in the world could do that. Why are we so obsessed with the cloud that it has to be stored in the cloud, that people couldn't learn how to set up a Raspberry Pi on their own network? Is there then a backup problem? Yes, there is. And the answer to that is to not. Like, if someone else can do your backups for you, you don't own your data. I just don't understand why we're dealing with all this complexity and it doesn't actually change what I can share. So let's look at the settings here. Access. So any user added as a collaborator will be able to push. Okay. How can I change who can see it? Overview. Settings, general. Default branch, yeah, blah, blah. Okay, there's some labels. What are these for? Who cares? So it's all in access. You can add a collaborator. That's great. So what? What about if I want to change visibility? It's very frustrating. So I don't mind it for this single repo. But my whole thing about not using GitHub and wanting to get out of GitHub is how much that's contributing to the insane AI thing. Don't have a problem with AI in concept. I don't have a problem with the idea that AI could help. There is no evidence of that right now. There's plenty of evidence that it doesn't work. I think that what people are missing about AI is they can't magically fix all these systems that have not been invested in companies for years and years and years. It can't magically fix getting CEOs to understand technology. It can't magically fix getting your entire company to understand technology. It is not a magic bullet. So I don't want to contribute unconsciously my code to AI. Probably already have, right? I've got a lot of GitHub repos, and I'm sure that they've all been swallowed. Not that I'm some great coder, but you know, in my own little way. Sorry, I'm just going to have a strepsil. In my own little way, I want to prevent having my code consumed. So how do you do that? Well, you don't have it generally read. Do I want people to read it. I'm quite fine with humans reading it. I'm not fine with it being just ripped off mindlessly. Even if you asked me if you could consume it to an AI model, that would be okay. I'm just not fine with it being ripped off mindlessly. So I want to control visibility. Now, fortunately, I don't need to use TangleDog. It's a good. I'm not saying it's a bad project. It's a good project, but I've got my own Git server here. Now, this is just written in JavaScript right now. And as I say, it's hosted on HTTP. But I've got an HTTPS web server. maybe I can add, some sort of proxy to NICD and host this JavaScript thing. Eventually, of course, I can rewrite this and see. And I don't know if you understand any of what I'm talking about, but even if anyone is listening to me talk nonsense into the void, but the thing is, if you control the data and the server and the name, if that was all written in C, you'd be able to give people a super simple thing that they could just download and run. Right? They could just download it and run it. They wouldn't need to configure Docker. They wouldn't need to configure Proxmox. You could treat a C binary much more like a virtual machine. So personally, I've done similar things with things like Java, using JVM as like a real virtual machine, not just a JVM, but a real virtual machine where you wrap up more and more functionality inside it. I don't see why we can't do the same thing in C, really. Like, it just needs some better DevOps. So what I'm going to try and bring all these threads together. This is too talky, but it means I don't have to write any code. Trying to bring all these threads together. What I'm trying to say is, part of my mission to make self-hosting so simple, like reclaiming the internet from big capitalist companies who don't care about their users. I wouldn't mind a big capitalist company that did care about its users. That would be fine by me. I don't have a beef against capitalism per se. Just making money is okay. There's nothing wrong with using market economics to make money. The trouble is when it gets perverted by power. You gain power through money, and then you pervert the very market that brought you into existence to stop other people taking your power, stop other people competing with you. That's what I object to, I think. So in order to advance the cause of fighting back against that power, the power to suppress the very thing that we wanted to build in the first place, like communication between people, free flow of ideas, all of those sorts of things, people being able to collaborate with each other, and all the way down that, this sounds high and noble and like 1990s internet lunacy, but that is all the way down to cat pictures and pictures of your grandchildren and all of those things. That is what we're talking about, as well as being able to collaborate on writing code together. So we're talking about all of those things. So in order to further that cause, I am going to I'm going to take a little break, I guess, from the chat system. I am trying to do all these things at the same time, but I'm going to take a little break from the chat system. I'm going to try and get bsky Oauth working here. I guess I could show you how this works. So I've got a clone button here, but look, it doesn't do anything. Like, it does do something, like that clones. But it's because it's not HTTPS, it won't work. So yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to make a temp directory here, and we're going to go git clone like that. And I think I'm actually surprised that worked, because I think it should have done something else. So let's go run it, and we'll make a fake one. Man, I've got so many problems, right? As well, the supervisor that is running this failed to work this morning. So, you know, that's my code. I've got to go fix that. But when you fixed it, it'll be fixed. Yay! So I think, oh look, one critical vulnerability. npm audit fix. Git status -s, git diff. Available typed arrays. Bunch of stuff. Maybe this will tell us. Security fix. Yeah. Anyway, let's I need a Git repo. Can't remember where the repo looks for stuff. Dummy git store. So let's make dummy git store, and inside dummy git store we will go git clone bear code store. So now we should have a git repo in there, right? Okay, so now we can go node code store server, and it's on 7002. So let's go to localhost 7002 and code store. Okay. Now let's make another temp directory, and we should be able to see what's going on. Okay, so maybe I'm confused about what I've just done. Let's go look. Okay. So here's the git pull. I have not committed the code that I wanted to commit, I think. So I want you to give me a moment. I'm going to go and get my laptop. Go commit that. Ugh. Here we go. Let's get that out of the way. Oh, that didn't work. Go over there. I do need to sort out my space. Goodness me. Okay, so here's an exciting stream where someone forgets to do things. So git status -s. Oh yeah, look. Wow. Okay. Git status -s git. Blah blah blah. Sorry. Do bear with me. There we go. Right. Right, let's run this again. We'll need another directory. That's the central one. Here's the local one. DOM. Make T2. Git clone. Let me say Nick. And we get that. So then you should be able to go here. Whoops. That's not right, is it? Here. That's weird. Why is it doing that? You right click. You'd have thought it would open the URL. Anyway, right, so then you've got that URL, and then you can put that token in. No, that doesn't work, but it should work. So maybe I need to change it to have a username or something. But anyway, that's the idea. So that means, why is that important? That means I can constrain the get operations. And maybe you could give this a session, or this could last for a while, so you don't have to do it every single time. Yeah. Anyway, so if you can constrain the get operations like this, then you could put visibility on the whole thing. So before you can do this, though, like you shouldn't even be able to get this, should you? You shouldn't, because you shouldn't be able to do a get operation. Let's just see if we can work out how to do this. Right, so here is the thing. I think I've got it turned off, maybe. Yeah, so it's always returning something bad. So let's fix this right now. So we don't want that, and don't want that anymore either. Oh, maybe I should just run this inside Emacs. That would be probably better, wouldn't it? Okay, so then we come here and we go like that. Nick there. Okay, so how's the authorization done? Right, we're not authenticating at all right now. So look, we've got this authorization header. We'll need to deal with that, right? So let's go deal with it. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, just replying to a friend. All right, let's toggle this so we can see it. I feel like maybe I should add that to font increase. Anyway, authorized equals I.get authorized. And if it is, then we're going to go buffer.from authorized base 64.toString. Otherwise it's undefined. Whoops. Console.log authorized. Authorized. Okay, it's only on a clone or something like that. So rm-rf code store. Nick. So authorized is undefined, eh? Authorization. Authorization. Again. Delete. Clone. Nick. Oh. Why am I so bad? Nick. Okay. That doesn't look right, does it? Ah, wait. Maybe we need a function to do this rather than just trying to do this in a thing. I'm always trying to get away with stuff, I think. So probably a good programmer would just use some sort of library or know some sort of library, I guess. But I'm not a good programmer. So the auth header, we go const basic, comma encoded equals auth header dot split basic console.log basic, comma encoded. And then we do this on the encoded parts. I don't know, you see, maybe you can tell, I think I'm probably quite a good programmer, probably. And I think one of the things about programming is just remembering everything. How do you remember everything? And that's the whole AI bot thing, isn't it? It's like because it can remember everything. But so my strategy for that is to remember protocols and algorithms and things like that. I'm probably better at remembering protocols than I am algorithms. I don't know why. Don't know why. I think because the protocols are more concrete to implement. So this feels like a protocol, not an algorithm. But that's why I don't remember how to do this in Express, how to use a handler. I remember how basic authentication works. Well, obviously I didn't remember, right? But you look there and you can see, oh yeah, okay, it works like that, doesn't it? There's the basic word in there. if auth header equals null or auth header equals undefined, just returned. Okay. So then we come down here. So that's my strategy, is to do that. Basic auth is to remember protocols, algorithms, not specific programming language or framework ways to do that. I keep doing the same thing. I think that's got a space on it. I probably should have output this, shouldn't I? Do, do, do. I keep forgetting that it's here in this other window. Yeah. I'm going to say secret this time. And look at that. Okay. But what if it's one thing? So I have to say, I thought I managed to get this working with one thing. I wonder if you do bearer? If you do bearer authentication, HTTP bearer auth? Is that a known thing? Authorization is either basic or digest. There's no bearer thing here, but we all know, don't we, that you can do that? Interesting. Interesting. So, because I thought you could do that. So obviously, what I want to do here is give somebody, you know, you go to the one-time token, and you get the one-time token, and you copy that. But maybe you could also copy, like, if we had a slightly different way of doing this, you could copy the original get operation with the token. So that would be quite good. But, you know, feel like this is good enough. And if you gave people a session, I think that would be okay, like a day, you know, something like that, where this is valid. That's okay. Okay, so anyway, we're going to get the point of getting that. Yeah, you're gonna generate this. So this is the bit where the one-time token is generated. that's the token. So we need to update one-time passwords. And they should be per user, right? So then passwords. I feel like they need a time on them, don't they? Still a list though. Yeah, still a list. Passwords.push time new date. Maybe created would be better. Oh, Nick. And then code. And then we could say one-time passwords. Everyone equals passwords. Okay. So eventually this will be a username from the Oauth. I'm not doing much Oauth. Just getting this stuff working. Okay, so now username comma code equals auth candidate dot split on colon. I guess we could just say one-time passwords username const password list, and then for const password or password list, if is that a number? We need a number. Sorry, we need a consistent type. So let's make that a string, right? It's a number, of course, but let's make it a string. So now password of password list, if password equals password dot code equals code, then return rule. Don't like that. Let's make this consistent type-wise. So it is a Boolean function. So then we do that. Let's rm that. We'll say everyone that failed. because we need to do that. Okay, so we'll say everyone. Doesn't matter what that is. We don't get the thing though. So it's a git upload pack. Oh, I think it's just failing. Let's do this. I mean, it should be doing this though, shouldn't it? So everyone, fail red. That's like the Anglo-Saxon. I mean, there aren't any. So that's right. What is bothering me is that it's not doing this. I know what it is. Ah. There we go. Now. Can I just go there? Aha. 41. 41. Oh dear, oh dear. That was very foolish. Somewhere, maybe if somebody was watching, they would have been yelling at me. Okay, so I can take that token. Don't know what we're sending, do we? Do. Authorization request. What did I do? I think I just typed a username. Instead of doing that, let's do this. Username. This is so much better. Ah, Yeah, okay. So that is sort of why. If we do that, why didn't it print it out? Let's try it again. No username. Okay, let's try doing everyone. Okay, so we did get the code this time. Comparing password, comma, let's do code, comma, password. Not sure this is how I want it to work, but hey, it's a bit frustrating, isn't it? So, oh, I didn't need to stop that. Too many windows. Everyone. Doesn't seem to say comparing, does it? Oh, yeah. I know why. Let's restart. You need to refresh this because otherwise it won't be in the thing. Yeah, there we go. Okay, then we'll do everyone and the code, and it works. So let's turn these off for now. So you see, what we could do is we could give people the entire operation, git clone, blah 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 blah. Like we could work this out so that they can just copy it. And I'm sure that if we do this, we could do it in such a way that you could do it from a session and it'd be okay. I think we could do that. But anyway, you're not doing get operations that often, are you? And certainly for shallow contributors right now, seems like it would be good. How are we doing for time? So we've spent an hour faffing around. Let's toggle this off. So we're not always spitting out the authorization. Yeah, so this is nonsense, this thing, but hey. It'll be okay. So that's one-time operation. Great, fine. Let's go commit this. Okay. But we want to make Oauth work. I don't want to make Oauth work against Blue Sky. I think Blue Sky is like, okay, it's a social network. What I'm trying to say, let me go back to trying to say all this again. Why would I say this to probably an empty stream? The thing is, we do need places to collect and gather together. Oh, there's just so many people walking by today. We do need places to collect together to form communities. And I, for one, would rather, I used to be a big Twitter fan, but I can't exist on Twitter. It's just nonsense. So it's not the fact per se that Elon runs it, it's what he's done to it. It's awful. So the timeline is just full of hate. I don't want to be pushed at people spouting their insane politics, or anybody's politics really. If I want to talk about politics, it's with like-minded people, people who I find interesting. That doesn't necessarily mean people who agree with me, but Twitter is not the place. So okay, so we have this other place, Blue Sky. Is that the right place? Well, for now, they've already shown that they have questionable moderation ideas, that they don't agree with their community on moderating, which probably means that it's not gonna be the place. But my point is, it doesn't really matter. We should remove ourselves mostly from those places. Why are we openly sharing so much into the void? You need to be able to find people who you're interested in, whether they agree with you or they're thought provoking. You need to find people who are interesting, who you want to connect with. And then I don't think you need necessarily a platform like Blue Sky to continue the conversation. Can we still have interesting conversations in the open? Yeah, sure we can. We need to be more deliberate, more human about that. Of making deliberate choices about what to say out in the open as to more conversations to have in a more closed off way. So for now, what I'm trying to say is, for now, Blue Sky looks like a great place to get together. Twitter does not. Apart from anything, does even Twitter even do our auth anymore? Twitter Oauth. Can you even do it? Apparently you can. I'm surprised. I guess they want you to log in to third-party websites with their identities. That's good. Whether you could then remix their content, probably not. What about Facebook? Does Facebook have Oauth now? Yeah, apparently. So you can do it with Facebook too. I'm going to support Blue Sky for now. I want to do GitHub Auth too. GitHub Auth might be much, much easier. But I'm going to do Blue Sky to start with. I also wanted to dip my toe in to this whole AT Proto world and understand a bit more about it. And so far, it's not really adding up to me. It's like a lot of very, very technical stuff, and I'm not sure it's worth it. But anyway, let's maybe we could give it a go. Let's get rid of this directory. How are we going to do this? So we did some poking about. Where are we? Authentication. So this is the protocol document for AT Proto. So I doubt you can see this. I think this is the interesting stuff. The difference with bsky and normal Oauth is this. So in normal Oauth, what you do is you make a client secret. So what you're going to do is I'm trying to think of the diagramming tool that is nice and easy to use. Can't think of it, but oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think. Okay, but oh goodness me, it's like an episode of the Primogen. So you have the so if this, oh my goodness, labeling parts. Let's say this is GitHub. Oh dear, oh dear. And so this is my service. Well, my service wants to talk to GitHub. It's going to pre-register with GitHub a secret client and stuff, and then when so GitHub will know what that is. So GitHub has a registry of all of these things. I can't even remember if this is the way it works now, but it's the way it used to work. So you come up with some cryptographic stuff to identify yourself, and you say, hey, here's my cryptographic stuff that I can be identified with. And then when a user comes along, you can send their request to authenticate with your cryptographic stuff to say, hey, yeah, I'm signing it. And so, when it gets sent back, it can be signed with your cryptographic stuff or encrypted with your cryptographic stuff, so only you can decrypt it. So you'd have to be the holder of those cryptographic things. Okay, so that's how it normally works. But that means you have to pre-register. Do you want to save your work? No, I don't. No, God's sake. And you couldn't do that in this massive federated world where you can't predict who the third parties are going to be before they turn up. So they've invented this way of dealing with all of that. So this section describes requirements for Oauth clients which are enforced by authorization servers. So there's a globally unique client ID. Distinct variants of client software may have distinct client ID values. For example, the browser app variants the same software. It's a well-formed URL. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to just start hacking this into here, I think. Okay, let's so const client ID equals HTTP. Obviously, this will be think it says somewhere there is a specific exception for HTTP localhost. The path does not need to include client metadata.json, but it is a helpful convention. So we need something like code store, and what is code store? This is all the Git server. Let's just hide this for now. So that's creating a repo. This is handling all of that. Yeah, so don't have enough namespace. But for now, we're gonna .auth client metadata.json. So code store .auth client metadata.json. We just have I, O for now. This is supposed to return some sort of JSON file. So we know we're going to go a.json. We don't know what that is yet. Oh my, look at this. Good Lord, not reading that. It must be a well-formed URL. Blah. Authorization servers which support the both the AT-Proto Oauth profile and other forms of Oauth should take care to prevent client ID value collisions. For example, client ID values for clients which are not auto-registered should never have the prefix HTTPS. Right, yes. I think that's true. So we'll do blue sky. Not nsky, bsky. Client ID. That's fair, because if we're going to do Oauth GitHub Oauth, we wouldn't have that, would we? So we're going to build a confidential client. That is one that has secrets embedded. Okay. Web clients, authorization servers may maintain a set of trusted clients identified by client ID. So that's the thing. Again, you can register, you can pre-register your client. Not going to do that. I'm not trying to be special in Blue Sky's world. The client ID metadata document is still a draft. Clients must publish a client metadata JSON file on the public web. This will be fetched by authorization servers, part of the authorization request, and at other times during the session lifecycle. The response must be a 200 with the correct content type. I don't actually know. Let's start our server. Okay, and then let's okay. Control U, BN. There we go. Right. I'm going to curl it. Minus www http localhost 7002 codestore.auth client metadata.json application JSON. Okay. Tested. Authorization servers need to fetch client metadata blah 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 from the public web. Blah blah blah. Okay, so this is where we're going to start having this. So client ID. So the following fields are relevant for all client types. So we need a client ID. Client underscore ID is blue sky client ID. What else do we need? Application type is web. Grant types. Okay, grant types. I feel a joke about EastEnders coming on. That's an array of strings, and one of them must be authorization code. Authorization code. Scope. String, substring, space separated. All scope values which might be requested by this client are declared here. The AT proto scope is required. So it's like this. AT proto. And if we had any more, they'd just be space separated. Response types. Response types is an array of strings and code must be included. Code must be included. Redirect URLs. At least one redirect URI is required. See authorization request fields section for rules about redirect URIs. I don't understand this. I know that in Oauth you need to have that. But hey. Token endpoint auth method. Confidential clients must set this to private key JWT. Let's just copy that because we need this. It's just a string. Right. Token endpoint auth signaling algorithm. That is the same thing. We're just going to use their just going to use that algorithm for now. Depop bound access tokens is mandatory, so this must be present. Like, do you begin to see what I mean about this? Like, this is just a bit mad. So then we have JWKS, and I think this is an object with array of JWKS. Confidential clients must supply at least one public key. Either this field or the JWKS URI field must be provided for confidential clients. I think we're going to try and use the JWK URI. So that will be localhost. I don't know if you're allowed to do this. They keep saying that you're not. JWKS. So we'll need that as well. So obviously we need to generate those. Let's send a 400 for now. And obviously these URLs need to change. Let's abstract the URL a little bit. JWAS URL equals because I think that would be more obvious that I need to do that. When the server starts, it needs to be able to resolve itself, all of those kind of things. And then you get the problem of you're behind a proxy and all of that. Okay, so let's pass this through JSON PP and yeah, I mean that looks okay, doesn't it? So we get rid of that window now. Okay, so those are kind of all the things. These fields are optional but recommended. Okay, so we'll have client name is code store personal git server. Personal self-hosted git server. Still not sure that describes what I'm doing here. Client URI. This is a homepage URL for the client. URI https code store.barrier.me.uk. That's my gem. I'll tell you what. This is all specified here. Be nice, wouldn't it, if they had a section for this? Oh, they do. Nice. Okay. So there was client URIs, logo URI. I don't think we're going to do that. If provided, client URI must have the same host name as client ID. Oh, dear. What? It's a bit weird, isn't it? What if you wanted a different marketing URL? Okay, so I'm not going to worry about the rest of it. Oh, if I don't write them down, I'll never do them. Like, I'll never look at this document again. Probably. So let's put them in here. Okay. Let's just try and remember never to do that. I wonder if I could make Emacs not, collapse text if there's a leading space in the comment. That would be a good hack, I think. Okay. When working with development environment, it can maybe, so this is the bit about localhost. A special exception is made for client ID having origin localhost. So this is all a bit strange to me. I think maybe it's about my background, my experiences, but I've worked in some large regulated authorities, like in government and places like that, and I think they expect us to actually go onto the, deploy to production and be able to do things on the internet. I'm expecting to have some sort of mock server that I can use to test that I've got the right values. I think that's what they should do. But it seems like they're expecting people to do, and maybe they should, maybe because, most people aren't bothered by security. So maybe that's okay. But it seems like a bit of a risk to encourage people to do this. It may be difficult for developers to publish in-progress client metadata to public URL. Yeah, maybe. In a localhost client ID scenario, the authorization server should verify that the scheme is HTTP. So I think, again, though, you're going to call actual Blue Sky. In the authorization request, the redirect URI must match one of those supplied. Path components must match, but port numbers are not matched. Okay, so redirect URIs. We're going to have something like localhost 7002 code store .auth authenticated. Let's say that. I don't actually, I can sort of vaguely remember what it is in Oauth, but hey. Why is this application type? The other parameters in the virtual client metadata document will be, I haven't said that it's a virtual client metadata document. Like, the documentation is poor as well. But why do they say this should be native? And why didn't they just say this should never be none? Token endpoint auth method Confidential clients must set this to private JWT. Okay, they didn't. Local host client development may be difficult for developers to publish, blah, blah, blah. To make development workflows easier, a special exception is made for client ID, origin, localhost. Authorization servers are encouraged to support this exception, including in production environments, but it is optional. I'm worried that I'm going to have to redirect port 80 to my 7002 just to get this done. Oh. In a localhost client ID scenario, in the authorization request, the redirect URI must match one of those supplied. Or a query parameter. That's bonkers. Bonkers. Note that this works as a public client, not a confidential client. It's terrible documentation, isn't it? Anyway, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Clients can start an Oauth flow in one of two ways. Starting with a public account identifier. So my Blue Sky handle is Nick Ferrier. So fine, okay. When starting with an account identifier, the client must resolve the AT proto identity to a DID document. Now, I spent ages trying to work this out yesterday. I've got a little window here. So let's get rid of all of that. So if you go to my name, this, you get this. Let's put an echo on the end. Right? So that's my what they call a DID. I don't define it. W3C DID. Decentralized identifiers, they're calling these things. So that's my decentralized identifier. And then you can look this up in this plc.directory. So, I mean, this all seems a bit fragile to me. Okay, so this is my DID document. I don't think I'm leaking anything here because you could just go do this yourselves. I'm not authenticated, so, Okay, so given a public account identifier, I can first get the DID like that. So we can just do a fetch, can't we? What have we got in here? We've got npm fetch, node fetch. We have not. So says store node fetch. Yes, node has a fetch inbuilt, but node fetch that's inbuilt can't do certs very well. So we're going to import fetch from node fetch. And this is incredibly confusing because if you were importing node fetch, you might do that. God, dear, oh dear. It's like we set things up specifically to trip people up. Okay, so let's make all this. We're going to have a function. I guess it's going to be an async function. Get user did document username. Okay, so we're going to go fetch HTTPS dollar username dot bluesky dot social. User handle. User handle must be an AT proto handle, e.g. Nickferrier.bluesky.social. So they've got this thing where you can I could make this nickferrier.me.uk or something like that. You know, I can have my own. So I guess that's pretty cool because then I own the domain name, and you can say, oh, I own the domain name. But there was a big discussion about this. I don't know how they've solved this, because then somebody else can have nickferrier.bluesky.social. Wouldn't it be better? Like, the reason they're doing this is they're saying, oh, because that's verifying your identity. Wouldn't it be better to have that? nickferrier.bluesky.social, but link it to a domain name as well. So if I claim that domain name, that, if you can prove that you are at that domain name, that's the thing. Why distribute the names? Oh, I don't know if they've solved that, but it feels like everything is sort of techie and they haven't really thought it through. So, well known. AT proto DID. AT proto DID. R.catch E. So do that, then we'll go const E, res equals await. Still looks horrid, so we'll just do it like this. Don't know what that is flying over. It sounds like a big thing. If error or res.status is not equal to 200, then return error or new error result http $res status. Okay, otherwise, well, the content type is text plain. So did reference equals res await res dot text. Of course, it could fail here, so fix me what if this fails. Oh, for goodness sake, we'll just fix it. Come on. Stop being lazy. Ref error. But then R, comma R dot catch E if ref error, then return ref error. Okay, otherwise we're going to log did reference. I'm going to just call this in a minute. And then, what's the time? 10 minutes too. So, like, I'm trying to implement. So, sorry, chat asked, what are we doing, Grandpa? Rude. I'm trying to implement Blue Sky Oauth, and I'm shouting at clouds like an old man about it. So there you go. That's what I'm doing. I'm being a grandpa. But we want to take that reference and then go do this. Look it up in this PLC directory thing. So we're just going to do more fetchy. Const. I don't like it. Like this fundamentally, like, oh yeah, we're very distributed, but we've got this single point of failure. Await fetch HTTPS PLC dot directory and then our DID reference. And I'm aware that this doesn't always work as well. Like the sometimes you don't have a DID reference. You have to do DNS resolution instead. I guess you have to do the DNS resolution where people have used their own DNS names instead of Blue Sky ones. So that's also pretty frustrating, but you know, this will get us going for now. And mine isn't done like that. I don't use my own domain name. I don't feel the need to do that with some third-party service. Everybody thinks that they're going to solve all the world's problems with their one startup. And fuck them. Why can't they just work together? Eh? That's what I say. Why can't they see themselves as part of the wider society instead of we're the solution to all these problems? Like, everyone's a mega fucking maniac. Anyway. So we're getting this document, aren't we? So we're going to say if PLC error or plc res.status is not equal to 200. It's the same thing as before. Then we're going to return plc error or new error http $plc res.status. Otherwise, we're going to get the document. So const doc error, doc equals await res.json, then r, r, e, e. I normally don't bother to do this. I normally just say const doc equals await res.json. But for an auth flow, it feels like maybe I should be a bit more responsible. So then if doc error, we'll just return doc error. Otherwise, we'll console.log the doc. We're going to return the doc. Okay, so now we're just going to call this at startup. We're going to go await get user did document, and we don't need the HTTP parts. Social, and then we're going to go process.exit. Okay. Didn't get a document. Catch. I'm all fingers and thumbs. Body used already. Yeah. PLC res. There we go. So let's take that console out. And there we go, there's the document. Okay. Now what? Okay, so blah blah blah, we got DID document. So with no idea how long it took me to find how to do that. They do not explain about this PLC thing, about this single directory. They don't explain at all about this. You have to go and chase down all the web documents, all the W3C standards. So annoying. The resolved DID should be bound to the overall auth session. It should be used as the primary account identifier with client app code. So we probably want to return the DID, that's a DID reference here, as well as the doc. Boom. Let's put all that back in, and let's do this, and we should get the DID and then the doc. Perfect. So I don't know whether to separate that out and test it, really. At the end of the auth flow, when the client does an initial token fetch, the authorization stuff, blah, 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 blah. This is just garbage. OAuth scopes allow more granular control over the resources. That's right. Oh god, this is all interminable. Authorization requests. The section details standards and requirements specific to authorization requests. PKCE and PAR are required for all client types and authorization servers. Confidential clients authenticate themselves using JWT client assertions. Yes, that's correct. Summary of fields relevant. We've got a client ID, a response type, a code challenge. That is the PKCE challenge value. See PKCE code challenge method. That's blah blah blah. The client secret value should not be included. For web clients, the redirect URI is an HTTPS URL. There is a special exception. This is interesting. It's not localhost, it's 127. Maybe. For native clients, the redirect URI must use a custom URI scheme. Oh dear. Proof key for code exchange. PKCE is mandatory for all authorization requests. Clients must generate. Before I forget, where are we here? Checkout -b, blue sky, Oauth. Because I'm going to do some of this between machines. So PKCE is mandatory for all authorization requests. Client must generate new, unique, random challenges for every authorization request. Yeah, that seems fine, doesn't it? We're going to do some web crypto. Pushed authorization requests. Authorization servers must support. That's an authorization server. Clients make an HTTP post request to the pushed authorization request endpoint URL. So I think this is probably my endpoint URL. Authorizations must set to true in their server metadata document. Let's go back up to this DID stuff. I think that you've got to take a DID document when starting with an account identifier to a DID document, starting with a handle, all handle blah, blah, blah. So I think what you've got to do is use the DID document to find an authorization server, and then so that's this service endpoint, I think. Ganoderma. What the hell is Ganoderma? Is a genus of polypore fungi. Uh-huh. Interesting. Well, the things you learn. Should choose cache lifetimes carefully. The resolved DID document should be bound when passing an account identifier through to the authorization server as part of the authorization request and login in. It is recommended to use the exact account identifier supplied by the user to ensure only some blah blah blah. At the end of the auth flow, when the client does an initial token fetch. It is such a poor document. if the auth flow starts with a server, blah, 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 after the auth flow continues, it's such a poor document. I mean, partly it's just the incredible complexity. But I mean, this is bad stuff, right? Okay. Authorizations must set this. Clients make an HTTP post request to the pushed authorization request endpoint URI. I mean, where'd you get this from? To enable browser apps, resource servers and authorization servers, PDS or entryway. And I think all I'm trying to use is an entryway, but it's the same thing, really. Need to publish metadata files at well-known HTTPS endpoints. So let's try and get from this toadstool thing, let's try and get this. So, okay, but can I have this, please? Oh. Why can't you just? I don't understand how to use this. Control click. There we go. That doesn't include that thing though. Require in their servers. Authorization servers must set require pushed authorization requests. Not there at all, is it? To true in their server metadata document and include a valid URL. They don't explain how to go from a DID document to that document. Authorization servers. Okay, yeah. The authorization server may be the same origin, might point to a separate server. The URL must be blah. The authorization server also publishes metadata. So curl https bluesky.social.well-known Oauth authorization server Damn it. JSON PP. Okay, does this have... Well, this is much more interesting. So does this have that? This is a pushed authorization request endpoint. It does. Look at that. So now let's have an async function. What's this one called? Get user DID document. Okay, we've done 2 of. I might do a bit more. I'm going to stand up while I think about what this function name should be. Huh. What should it be? It should be... Oh, I got 9 hours of sleep last night. But it was terrible. Oh my goodness. Look at that. I guess we could just do a get Oauth server. What is this? This is a user handle. DID documents. So then we're going to go get Oauth server doc from user handle, and I think this would just be a test thing. So we're gonna go, oh, I hate the error thing so much. Res equals await. Doc error doc res equals await. Get user DID document. User DID document user handle. But then catch if doc error return doc error. Shoot, should be throwing all of those. Otherwise they won't get caught, will they? So, So otherwise doc res, and then so we had little fly. So if we go all the way back to this results in this, which has a service and a service endpoint. Service endpoint. Console.log service endpoint. And again, we'll just call this get auth server doc from user barrier bluesky.social, and then we will go process.exit. Okay, console.log doc. Yeah, so oh my gosh. There we go. Is that okay? I don't know. Seems bad to me. So then we're going to go service endpoint. So we fetch dot well known Oauth protected resource. Dot well known Oauth protected resource. Dot then r dot catch e const service error service res equals okay, if service error or service res dot status is not equal to 200, then throw service error and default to http $service res dot status. Ba-boom. So how's that? That gives us that thing. So then when we get that, we get authorization servers. Okay, so again, oh my God. Service doc error service doc equals await service res dot json dot then r dot catch e and if service doc error, then throw service doc error. Otherwise we've got the service doc, so then that's authorization service. Authorization. Oh, servers equals service doc. Let's print it out lest we go too far. My TSM stuff seems to have stopped. Maybe it's struggling to parse. Yep. Let's just switch back to this. Need to debug that, don't we? Oh, that'll be an await fetch. Okay, so there's the authorization servers. Okay, and so an authorization server and then we can get .well known authorization server. Whew. So auth server doc error, and the other thing about this is you just get longer and longer names, and that's kind of frustrating. Auth server dot well known. This is terrible as well, by the way. Like, what a terrible way to do things, to pollute the namespace. Surely it would be better to do this with headers, surely. Oauth authorization server dot then, don't call me Shirley, etc. comma r dot catch e. So if auth server doc error or auth server doc dot status is not equal to 200, then throw auth server doc error. And remember, this is just a test method. Oh my goodness. Auth server doc dot status. Otherwise, auth. Yeah, you see, I've called these the wrong things, really. We'll call it a failure this time. This is an auth server doc res. No, let's just do it. doc res res. Do you mind if I just drop the font just one? So then this can be an error, and this is auth server doc equals await auth server doc res .json. Then, oh my goodness me, comma r dot catch e console if auth server doc error throw auth server doc error console.log auth server doc. Goodness me. Okay, we're going to return the auth server doc, but we're actually going to refactor most of this because get auth server doc from a DID so this is all going to go in here. We're going to go return get auth. Oh my goodness me. Get auth server doc from the DID document. That should do the same thing. Gosh darn! We're awaiting it. I don't understand. Service endpoint. Pom pom pom. Yep, there's a service endpoint. Oh, we're not printing it out. Const. We'll just use them, right? Dot then. We'll take that console log out. Do do do. Do 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 do. Now what? Come on, come on, come on. Think. I'm not feeling very well. I think I've been into the office. Oh, I've been into the office every day this week. Last week. I was teaching somebody to code, actually. He doesn't know code at all. I don't know. Maybe a millennial. But maybe Gen Z. I think Gen Z. My kids are Gen Z. and this person's a bit older than that, but not like only 1 or 2 years. So I can't remember what the cut-offs are. Anyway, that's all nonsense, isn't it? It's all nonsense. That's nonsense. Anyway, it's fascinating teaching somebody to learn how to code. That's kind of, I'm trying to build this thing. You know, part of what I'm trying to do, it's not just smash capitalism, but also to, you know, get more people to help me smash capitalism. Not really trying to smash capitalism. And so, yeah, I'm trying to build this thing that will make it easier for people to build things. That doesn't mean they have to have no knowledge, but it does mean it's easier. And so it's a real nice insight working with someone who doesn't know anything. And I wonder if I can make myself, for a while at least, sort of like the learning to code for people who don't know how to code guy. Anyway, sometimes I feel like I need that, don't I? Need to break for a second. Dot catch e console.log and e. And I think it will come out now, won't it? Yeah, so now we get this document. Okay, so now we've got a thing that can give us an auth server document. No. Yes. Okay, let's go back. There's a lot of stack here, isn't there? Well, we're pushing and popping our stack. So authorization servers must support PAR, and clients of all types must use PAR for authorization requests. So in here is a pushed authorization request endpoint. Pushed authorization request is true, yes. So I guess we could assert that, but authorization. So clients make an HTTPS post to with the request parameters in the form encoded request body. They receive a request URI in the JSON response object. When they redirect the user to the authorization endpoint, there is so much context. I don't know if it's me. Is it me? Am I an idiot? There's a lot of people driving past on hairdryers. So I guess we're gonna send a post. I can't even remember. Like, I feel like I need to know Oauth backwards to do this. Simple protocol. What I want is a protocol description of Oauth. Protocol description of Oauth 2. I don't want that. From the authorization server, supplying the client ID and secret. See, even this, like, OAuth is a thing that's holding the internet up in terms of this. Let's read this sentence out. The client requests authorization from the authorization server, supplying the client ID and secret to as identification. It's not even English, is it? Like, obviously, it should just be and secret as identification. But how poorly edited is this document that no one has seen that? It's outrageous. The authorization server authenticates the client and verifies that the requested scopes are permitted. The resource owner interacts with the authorization server to grant access. Okay, so somehow you kick off authorization and so let's say you're using CodeStore. You come to CodeStore and you go got it running anywhere. Router CodeStore. You come here and you go to CodeStore and it says, oh, you need authorization, so that the code on the back end, the CodeStore code says, oh, you need authorization, and so it sends an HTTP request from the CodeStore server to GitHub, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, supplying its pre-registered client ID, client ID, and it gets back a redirect URI to send the access token or the authorization code to. The authorization server authenticates the client and verifies that the requested scopes are permitted. See, this does not explain how the user gets this screen. There's a missing part, isn't there? So it'd be really good. What are the protocol diagrams called? Sequence diagrams. Oauth 2 sequence diagram. Dear, oh dear. Is this Oauth or Oauth 2? This is Oauth 2. So there's an authorization request. The authorization server. This is terrible because it doesn't say this is a response. Is this just another get? Like, where's the response? What are these things? Like, they've got a colour scheme. God, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's terrible, isn't it? And part of me can't help but think that they're just trying to make this overcomplicated. Like I do a whole bunch of stuff like this, designing authorization protocols and stuff. I don't know. Are they just bad at their jobs? Okay. You see, it's never detailed enough, is it? They say it's a step-by-step thing, but it's not. Okay, you always want to trust an ASCII art diagram. Okay. Here's a user agent as well, right? So this is useless. Are they going to try and? Okay, here we go. So the web browser, I presume that web.com, app.web.com is an application, auth is a authorization thing. Okay, so we get login and we find authweb.com/authorize, and then we get /authorize client ID, code challenge method, scope and state. And then this maybe I should implement GitHub Oauth first. Oh, that was nonsense. Probably you could make all of this stuff work. To the pushed authorization request endpoint URL with the request parameters and the form encoded body, there you receive. I wonder what this RFC says. Let's just sit down here quickly if they got any. Got any protocol diagrams in here? They don't. So let's just have a look at what this says. This is the best stream ever, isn't it? Allows clients to interact with multiple independent authorization servers. The authorization response does not contain blah, 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 blah. Example authorization response. We haven't even made a request. I think we should just make a post to this authorization endpoint and see where we get to. Well, that returns a doc. So I'm going to do all of this. Const auth doc equals that. And gonna say that the authorization endpoint is in the auth doc. There's an authorization endpoint and there's a pushed authorization request endpoint. Clients make an HTTP post request to the pushed authorization request endpoint with the request parameters in the form encoded. They receive a request URI. When they redirect the user to the authorization endpoint, they omit most of the request parameters they already sent and include this request URI along with client ID as query parameters instead. Right, so what people aren't doing I normally trust RFCs. Ah, here we go, look. This is better. Like, this idiot, sorry, whoever you are, cross, that is not the same as this. This is okay. Okay, so we make an authorization request, we get an authorization grant, and we send the authorization grant and get an access token. Right. The client requests authorization from the resource owner. The authorization request can be made directly to the resource owner, or preferably indirectly via the authorization server as an intermediary. The client receives an authorization grant, which is a credential representing the resource owners. Well, yeah. Makes sense. Where's the next one? Is that it? Oh, here's their terrible diagram. the client initiates the flow, and like this is always the case, isn't it? Like whoop. Can you get rid of this? 4.1, 4.1, 4.1. Okay. There's the picture. Here's the picture. And let's use this. So, A, the client initiates the flow by directing the resource owner's user agent to the authorization endpoint. Yeah, okay, so you go to codestore/login and that redirects you to authorization server. The client includes its client identifier, requested scope, local state, and a redirection URI to which the authorization server will send the user agent back once access is granted. So you pre-register the client, and then the user comes to you and says, hello, I want to log in. You redirect the user to the authorization server with your client ID, your pre-registered client ID. The authorization server authenticates the resource owner via the user agent and establishes whether the resource owner grants or denies the client's access requests. So basically, have you got a cookie? Like you go to GitHub and you've already got a cookie because you're logged in. So like there's a session cookie, right? You're logged in. Oh, okay, you're logged in. So that's okay. We'll just give you a button saying yes or no, grant or not. And you say yes. But before you do that, if you didn't have a cookie, you might have to log in. Assuming the resource owner grants access, the authorization server redirects the user agent back to the client. So you click yes, allow, authorize this client to be Oauth, and the response to that post is a redirect. So the client doesn't know about any of this, but it suddenly gets a request. In the request or during client registration, the redirection URI includes an authorization code and any local state provided by the client earlier. The client requests an access token from the authorization server's token endpoint by including the authorization code received in the previous step. Yeah. The resource owner grants the request. The authorization server issues an authorization code and delivers it to the client by adding the following parameters to the query component of the redirection URI using the form URL encoded format. Right, okay. Okay, but in this one, we make an HTTPS post to the pushed authorization request endpoint with the request parameters in the form encoded request body. what are the request parameters? It's just terrible. Just can't get over how bad the docs are. It's like, let's make a super complex thing. We're so into it, and let's not bother to get anybody outside of our sphere to go through this and try and implement it and give us feedback. Anyway, so we're going to make a post to this. So receive a request URI. It's just a mess. Like they say, this is 9207, and this doesn't say what you should do. I bet, is this written by a bunch of blue sky people? So they've got these responses. Allows clients to interact with multiple independent authorization servers under the control of separate entities. Some OAuth grant types utilize the resource owner's user agent to deliver the authorization server's response to the Oauth client. One example of this pattern is the authorization response of the authorization code grant. The authorization response does not contain any information about the identity of the authorization that issued the response. Therefore, clients receiving a response from the resource owner's user agent cannot be sure who initially issued the response and the secrets contained therein. The lack of certainty about the origin of the response enables a class of attacks. Yeah, we don't care about the attacks. We're just saying. So I understand it's a risk. Okay, OAuth clients that interact with only one authorization server are not vulnerable to mix-up attacks. However, yeah, mix-up attacks aim to steal authorization code. You already explained mix-up attacks. You don't need to do it again. Detailed description of the mix-up attack class can be found here, as well as the original research, first highlighting this. Yeah. This document defines a new parameter in the authorization response called ISS. Okay, this doesn't say about, I mean, what is this? This is just authorization server issuer identification. It is not pushed authorization requests. Pushed. Again, it's this document. It's not this. Sorry, it's not the RFC. It's this document. This document is appalling. But trust me, the other thing I was looking at, the blue sky version of this, is even worse. Oh my goodness me, it's just so bad. Like, okay, so we've done this whole stream and it's really bad. There's yeah, we're going to listen to feedback from the development community, from our mates at the coffee shop. This specification is authoritative, but it's not an implementation guide. It's not authoritative. And the client implementation guide are more approachable for developers, but I think I was looking at this and it's just so bad. Yeah, this is bad. This basically says, I think this basically says, use a library. Oh yeah, look, most developers will have an SDK available, which supports Oauth. Yeah, but you can't use it because you've got all these extra Oauth requirements. Oh dear. I don't know whether they use an AI to make this. I expect so. It's like, can you summarize this document? Okay. Anyway, it's 2 o'clock. I'm probably just tired. I'm getting grumpier and grumpier. So I'm gonna leave the stream there. I guess I'll commit. I've got something useful because I've got all these documents. So I guess I'm gonna commit into this branch. We're in a branch, right? I'm gonna commit all this stuff. That seems like a good summary, doesn't it? And thank you for watching if you did, and I'll see you next Sunday brunch. Ta-ta. Dear oh dear, everything's pissing me off today. You will not be able to reconnect. No, that's why I pressed stop stream.